And so for each and every one of you, if y'all are stuck, start by planting the smallest positive karmic seed you can. Take whatever tiny action you can to set yourself up for a better tomorrow. It may bear fruit, it may not. But you are still going to act. All right. Today, my dad told me I'm not his son anymore. I don't know if I can upvote this. Does that mean? Okay, we'll upvote. When I was 11, my family went through a rough and long divorce. My father has become abusive and heavily drug dependent for a few years. I'm 19 now. Wow, dude, that sucks. And the last time I spoke to him was when I was 15. He's a top-tier scientist, and this year, after a lifelong passion for all kinds of science, I chose the same career path as him. Not because of him, but because my own love for the thing. Every 3 months, I have to send him an email and briefly tell him if something is important, like my address, phone number changed. So I did that yesterday, telling him that I got accepted to the best university in my country and to a biochemistry course, the same course in school that he attended. And to be honest, I hoped a little bit that he would reply and at least say something slightly nice. He replied by calling me a mister instead of my name, told me that I am not his son anymore, and basically blamed the whole divorce on me in a long and hateful paragraph. I called my mom, shared the mail with my girlfriend, had it on the back of my mind the whole damn day. To be honest, even after being physically and mentally abused for 6 years straight, getting sued by him multiple times, literally trying to kidnap my 4-year-old sister, this really hurts. And I don't even know why I care so much. The only thing I can do now is to cope in a healthy way. And this is what this post is about. I've decided to cope in a healthy and mature way this time. Even though my entire being literally just wants to get drunk and self-harm, I'm not going to do it. Good for you, man or woman. I will visit my family instead, spend some extra time with my girlfriend and cat, and get some quality alone time. Whatever, just to relax and clear my head. So fuck you, Dad, and you won't get the best of me this time. Good for you. Being human sucks ass. Yeah, so this is also like a fantastic post. So like, we're just going to talk for a second. I think it's a great final post. So first thing is that like, yeah, being human sometimes sucks ass. And I think that this post is, I don't know if it's just because I've been talking about spirituality, but I feel like talking about karma for a second. I think this post beautifully illustrates karma. So sometimes it's not your choice what hand you're dealt, right? So this person was born to someone who sounds like they have a substance use problem and are highly narcissistic and uncaring. And that sucks, and it hurts, and it damages you. Like, that's just the truth of it, right? Like, it's the truth. If you have a parent who blames you for their divorce, who's incredibly toxic, who despite, all of that toxicity, you try to do the right thing, you try to do your dharma, you try to be a good child, and like every 3 months at least give them an update and try to maintain some kind of connection with them. First of all, you're not stupid for doing that. You're not weak for doing that. I think it's doing your dharma as a child to a parent, right? It's important to try to forgive and maintain relationships. And at the same time, I think you've done your dharma, right? So your dharma means making a solid effort. It doesn't mean making an effort until the end of time. It means giving it your best shot and recognizing that relationships are two-way and enough is enough. It doesn't mean that you always have to look for their approval, and that if your relationship sucks, it means it's continuously your fault and that you need to continue trying. In my mind, you've done a fantastic job of trying to keep them in your life and give them every chance to re-engage with you. And if they choose not to, that is the extent of your dharma. You don't need to ever send them an email again. If they ever reach out to you and they want to express remorse, you don't have to give them an opportunity to apologize. You don't have to let them back into your life. You've given them a chance and they chose to pass. They may try to make you feel guilty and say like, oh, I deserve a chance. And they're right. They do deserve a chance. And they had it. They had several chances. They had a year of chances, and that boat has sailed. You don't have to bring the boat back to shore just because they're a few years late, right? That is dharma. It is doing your duty and also recognizing that your duty is not bending over backwards. The second thing is this is a beautiful example of karma. So it's not your choice who your dad was. And yet, you can take steps to determine your future by the karma of your present actions. Right? Like, and this person is doing a beautiful job. So in this moment, it's not their choice that their dad was an abusive asshole. That's not something, so they get damaged by that. They get the abuse and they have to deal with that shit. It's unfortunate, but it's true. And then we all have choices, right? So they have a choice right now that they can self-harm or drink, but instead they're going to spend time alone with their girlfriend. They're going to hurt. They're going to post on Reddit. They're going to spend time with their cat. That is a karmic choice, which will then lead to a karmic fruit. So I really love this post because I think it exemplifies like these two principles, right? These are just frameworks for looking at this thing. The first is that you should do your duty, and also you should not do any more than your duty. So one of my most brilliant mentors, the one who I quote the most, once told me that the doctor who goes the extra mile for a patient goes a mile too far. And you actually shouldn't go the extra mile for a patient. You should go the mile that you're supposed to go, right? You should do your duty. And you shouldn't go an extra mile because then you've got a mile too far. That the patient actually has responsibility as well, right? So like if your patient doesn't show up on time, should you give them extra time? Maybe, maybe not. If they show up late chronically, should you make adjustments? Maybe, maybe not. You should do your duty and you should let everyone else do theirs. The second principle here is karma, which is that you can't control what happens to you. What you can control is what you do about it. You can't control for the pain, like that's going to hurt, right? Like, and you still want your dad's approval. Absolutely makes sense. We all want our dad's approval, right? Like that's what we want. It's fantastic. My dad passed away a few months after I got into medical school, passed away 1 month before I got married. And it was really great because like the day that I got into medical school, he cried in a way that I had never seen him cry before. And it was like so like wonderful because I knew he was proud of me, and then he passed away. And he never saw me get into Harvard, never saw me become faculty, never saw me become a successful Twitch streamer, never saw any of those things, and I don't need him to see. Because I got that one dose of like solid approval that has stuck with me, right? And so to not get that absolutely sucks. But what we do with our negative karma or our positive karma has to do, like that's our choice, right? As a human being, you are entitled to your actions. You are not entitled to the outcomes of your actions. So I applaud this person 100% for venting some of those feelings, for processing a little bit through writing that post, for recognizing, notice what they're doing in their mind. They have their thought pops up. There's a cultivation that's very important here. Their mind says, oh, let's go get drunk and self-harm because I'm hurting. And there's another part of our mind that says, actually, we're not going to do that. We're going to spend time with our cat. We're going to spend time with our girlfriend. We're going to post on the internet. We're going to process these emotions. We're going to build something out of our life. It doesn't take the pain away, but it does sow seeds for the future. So for all of you who are in these kinds of situations, I don't blame you for stupidly wanting the approval of your parents. It's biologically built in. It's culturally built in. You may think that you're dumb, but you're not dumb at all. It's very normal and natural to want the approval of people who are abusive to you. It's why people stay in abusive relationships. It's how we're wired. We as human beings adore and need to be appreciated and respected by people. Especially the people that are like our parents and that are close to us, right? We can spend our whole lives very understandably chasing after the approval of our parents. And so do I think you should cut them off with all ties and call them an asshole? No, I think you should actually do your duty. You should make an effort, a solid effort, to forgive them and give them another chance. And that effort should be limited, right? You should do your duty and nothing more. And once that duty is passed, be able to sleep at night. Give yourself a pat on the back because you gave it a shot, right? You extended your hand. You tried to repair the relationship, and they chose not to meet you there. And so then you don't have to do anything with them anymore. They're done, right? They say they're dead to you. I think they actually just knocked themselves out of your life. And so be it. Like, you don't need to be alive to them, right? Your dad can wallow in his drinking and his hurt and his resentment. He can hold on to the past and blame a 10-year-old for a divorce. Like, how stupid can you be? Your dad gets to do all those things, and then you're going to build the life that you want to build. And I commend you 100% for doing that. And so think a little bit about the karma. You can't control what happened to you. You can't control the pain that life throws your way. What you can control to some degree is what you do about it. And there are days where the depression gets too bad, and there are days where you don't have the willpower and you give in to the alcohol. There are days where you lose that fight, and that's okay, right? So like, be forgiving towards yourself. Have some compassion. And just because you've lost that fight quite a few times doesn't mean you have to lose that fight tomorrow or today. And so as you start to cultivate the tiniest little victories, they will begin to support you. I have no doubt that this 19-year-old person who has a girlfriend and a cat and maintains a relationship with their mom had many opportunities to not have that girlfriend, not get a cat, right? They could have chosen not to do any of those things. But since they made what I'm sure is difficult choices, because if you have abusive parents, it's like hard to find a girlfriend and like engage in relationships, and you can deal with a lot of terror and fear. But as they start to deal with those things, they start to accumulate positive karma around them. And then you deal with a problem like this, and they have support structures in place. And so for each and every one of you, if y'all are stuck, start by planting the smallest positive karmic seed you can. Take whatever tiny action you can to set yourself up for a better tomorrow. It may bear fruit, it may not. But you are still going to act, right? It doesn't matter how many mistakes you made. It doesn't matter how many Fs you have on your transcript. The question is, what are you going to do today? And as you take each of those steps forward, it doesn't matter that you've changed your major 8 times and you haven't been able to find a career so far. The question is, what are you going to do today? It doesn't matter that you're 21 and you've never had sex and you don't have a girlfriend or whatever. The question is, what are you going to do today? And in the tiniest way, sow a positive karma for yourself. Do 5 push-ups. Cook yourself some dinner. Eat a piece of fruit. Journal a little bit. Go for a walk. There is evidence that vitamin D, overwhelming evidence, that vitamin D actually helps your mood. There's less good evidence that plant aerosols have anti-anxiety benefits. So if you're struggling with depression and anxiety and you literally go for a walk, there is scientific data that suggests that you have improved your depression and anxiety for tomorrow. Right? So each tiny thing that you do, you don't realize what you're doing. You don't see the effect right away, which is why it's great that we have that meme post, right? You can't let your actions be dictated by the progress that you see. You cannot let your actions be dictated by the outcome. You have to let your actions be dictated by what direction you want to go. And the more that you focus on that and the less that you let go of outcomes, the more you will build like a positive karmic life, which will then support you. And then you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish.